So if things go wrong, C9's going to have to pivot in picks rather than in bans.
Well, with that last ban of the first half here being the Gragas from NRG, it leaves Kaisa open. They are swift to lock that in first on C9's side. We've seen pretty much every team want to put priority on this champion. She is so strong on the current patch, and it's just a big deal for anybody to be able to lock this one in. So C9 immediately securing that for themselves. We're expecting it to be played by Berserker down there in bot lane, but it still could potentially be a swap over to mid as the Jayce is locked in by NRG. This is one of those champions that can pair very well with Kaisa with the AD and AP poke together, so NRG's going to deny that one. Also securing themselves the Maokai, which is another champion that works very well with poke.
Yeah, and I think the Maokai is the more important denial here. It also actually speaks to me as why they might have let Kaisa through, is so they could get Maokai, because Maokai is, I think, more pivotal to either a Kaisa or a Jayce poke comp, thanks to the saplings giving extra vision and also slowing people to allow you to land the poke.
Well, the follow-up from the draft for C9 here is pretty much exactly what I was expecting. Rell is one of the premier engaged champions in the current state of the game. It's my personal belief she is the best hard engaged champion in the current state of the game. People love pairing her with Kaisa. Also the Tristana here in mid for EMENES. These two champions together create such an incredible amount of threat. With the range that they have, the damage being split evenly with AD and AP between them. C9 got a very stock standard, what you would expect for a patch 13.14 draft in their first 3 picks here.
Yeah, the flexibility of the Rell also very important. I do wonder what FBI is going to end up going with here, because Cloud9's going to get a couple bans to throw at him, and they don't have a support pair yet either. So definitely makes sense that NRG's attacking Blaber's champion pool. Unlikely they need to ban Kindred since C9 already has 2 marksmen, but bot lane is definitely where C9 can look to find an advantage here, depending on what they ban.
Curious what Fudge is going to play into the Renekton up there in the top side too, as the Ezreal gets banned away, wanting to deny that one from FBI. I like this, especially considering Kaisa is one of those champions that can try to dive in with the rest of the team. Rell has good engage, but against a champion like Ezreal, you pretty much need the flash to be able to land it. I feel like Crashdown should never hit Ezreal if he has Arcane Shift available, so I like taking that away. NRG going to deny the Rumble pick. We have seen this absolutely terrorize the Renekton matchup plenty of times before. I don't doubt that Fudge is the type of guy who would be happy to slam that and take that into Dhokla, so they'll ban that one away, protect the top lane up there a little bit heavier. Final ban of the draft now for C9. Is it another focus on the marksman role, trying to keep FBI off of something? No, the Braum instead. Whippo, behind the scenes earlier today in the caster green room, was telling us about how strong he thinks this champion is.
Yeah, Braum with Emax can get 55% damage reduction at level 9 with incredibly high uptime. It's like a rank 1 Alistar ultimate at all times, but it's on the ban table now. We don't have to talk about that. So NRG probably picks 80 carry here, and then I do wonder what Fudge is going to match into top lane. Most likely Cassante, but that does leave a little bit of magic damage hole. So Jax, Cassante, Kennen would be the stretch. I'm not sure where he's going to go.
Well, still plenty of time to think about it. A lot of different things being hovered here. Let's see. You still have magic damage through the Kaisa too, so there's plenty on this team.
AP Kaisa is fine if you just want to go Jax. But the thing is, triple AD topside is a little sketch.
Okay.
So if they go Rell jungle, they'd have that. I think Rell's probably a support, but with Maokai banned, I'm not sure what Blaber would go with.
Well,
okay, Nautilus for Zven.
Yeah, or it could still be Rell support Nautilus in the jungle. That is possible.
True.
It's not 100% locked in that it'll be the Nautilus support, but I would agree with you. I think that it is.
Yeah. So overall, their team comp is going to be fine for damage because they're going to go AP Kaisa.
Yeah.
But the top side, if we see like a Steel Caps rush for the Renekton, is going to make him really difficult to deal with if he gets a little bit ahead in lane. Overall, though, C9's team comp still makes a lot of sense.
Final pick of the draft is the Alistar for Ignar. So there's some engage, some extra appeal, even for FBI. Whenever I see Aphelios locked in, I almost need to see a support that has some ability to peel just because of the champion's lack of inbuilt defensive mechanisms. So Ignar will at least be able to help out FBI a little in that department.
Yeah, it's a little bit, but that's not your ideal pair for the Aphelios. It's not an Enchanter, it's not a Thresh, so it's definitely something that needs to roam more, and FBI is just going to have to play really far back. I think it's a very difficult game for FBI to play.
I think both of these supports also going to be looking to do a lot of playmaking on their own. We heard the Lounge talking a little bit about mid-jungle and being able to take over the game through that path. And a lot of times these days, support is the extra thing tacked onto the end of that too, with the a lot of the popular supports being back on these engagers as opposed to... All right, C9 coming out of the base here in the blue side. It's NRG on the red. Game number 1 of what a lot of people are thinking could go the distance. I was hanging out in chat yesterday watching the series, and Jack from C9 was showing up in there too, and even Jack was saying he's expecting a full 5-game banger here today out of these two squads. So as we wait to see what happens at level 1, let's go ahead and toss to Gabby, who's standing by with NRG coach ThinkCard.
Thank you so much, Captain Flowers. Now, we know that NRG 2-0'd Cloud9 in the regular season, but what do you make of going against them in a best-of-5?
I mean, they're definitely a strong team. They know how to adapt. They've been here before, but we're definitely more confident than we've ever been going into playoffs and facing them. So we're feeling pretty good.
I'm sure some of that confidence comes after the massive match that you recently had qualifying for Worlds. What was it like managing that energy with still a shot at going right into the championship finals on the line?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, this is everything for the players. So we are super excited after we qualified for Worlds, and game to game, like, there's just so much on the line for us. So we're giving it our all.
Let's see how that excitement translates into gameplay for NRG versus Cloud9. Back to game 1.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this bottom lane here at the start, because they're on our screen, and I do want to point out the difference between summoner spells. As Berserker has the cleanse, heal for FBI. I'm a little curious your thoughts on this one, because there's definitely some powerful CC threats on the enemy side there, especially something like a Rell, who we know that her engages can be absolutely devastating. The heal's telling me that it feels like these guys want to play a bit more heavily for the lane.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much exactly right. So when you have the Aphelios versus Kaisa matchup, as an AD in lane, the Aphelios will outrange. And then also, the counter to outranging is all-inning. So by bringing the heal, they're more likely to be able to get shoved, and that's really what they need is Alistar. Alistar's not particularly a strong laner, and he needs to be able to roam to have an impact on the game. So it's definitely a laning summoner, but later on in the game could end up costing him pretty greatly having no cleanse on the Aphelios.
That's what we'll have to track. Can they get that priority early, and is it going to get punished later on with the lack of the cleanse? Or if you can get far enough ahead, maybe you're going to have the options to buy things like QSS. Maybe you're going to have the opportunity to get something like a McHale's from a support or something in there too. But we'll keep an eye on it as things move forward. Lane phase across the Rift right now, you can see control over the top side for Fudge. We were talking about this earlier behind the scenes as well with Whippo, just how Jax can run these top lane matchups, these 1v1s. You just walk up to the wave, turn Counter-Strike on, get your shove nice and early, and it makes it difficult for Renekton to use that early power that he would otherwise have.
Yeah, Jax has really snuck up on the meta, but I still think at level 6, the Renekton will be tried to be used for Rift Herald control. Early on in the lane phase, Fudge, when he's locked in, he knows exactly how to play each wave, right? Like, he's mathed it out, deciding which minion wave he needs to use his mana on, and when to crash and when to recall. And right now you can see he's done it right. He's probably got a few trades that went better than normal. I don't think this is how you're supposed to play level 4 Jackson and level 3 Renekton, but a lot has gone well, so he's able to take this wave. He's going to recall. Fudge is in great position.
Yep, he'll finish proxying this one out. Dokla's about to have another wave crash into his turret, so even though he wants to go back here and mess with Fudge a little bit, he can't afford to just leave all those minions back there into the tier 1, so his job has already been decided for him as EMENES, again, playing aggro on this Tristana. This is the way I always want to see mid lane Tristana be played. You've got to apply pressure. Palafox, no mana, underneath the turret. Blaber's ready to come around here. That ward, they have to clear that out first, so at least Palafox with that predict on what's going to happen there is able to see what's going on. Blaber's not going to go for a flash dive here just yet. Fudge with the teleport back into the top lane. Did get the Sheen purchase early on, going to make his trades much more deadly. You can see Palafox also choosing to take his recall first. He'll be teleporting back into the mid lane. A lot of times what you're going to see is EMENES trying to get whatever damage he might be able to on there, but instead, nope, he'll just walk off to the side with the wave crashing, take his recall too. So starting to see most of those teleports already be used here. The only one left on the map after EMENES returns to lane would be Dhokla on the Renekton, who is still in lane for now.
Yeah, I think Fudge had a really good look there mid lane, but that one ward that Palafox put into Raptors probably saved his life. Otherwise, I think that would have been a 3-man dive, and they might have been able to get first blood. More interesting, though, Flowers.
Yeah.
Cloud9 in winners bracket finals. I was looking into this the other day.
Okay, what do you got?
So we've had double elimination, now 7 splits. This is the 8th split.
Okay.
When Cloud9 has won the winners bracket final, they've went on to win the championship 4 times.
So over half of what's already happened.
Every time they win this game, they win the split.
Well, Contractz coming in, trying to, nice sidestep there from EMENES. NRG bringing plenty of guys back here in mid to try to stop them from winning this game. But, okay, so what about the other 3?
They don't win the split.
Okay.
So if anyone wins this game that's not C9, they don't win the split. Weirdly enough, the loser of this game is the only one on to win the split 1 out of 7 splits. That was 100 Thieves in 2021 summer. It's mostly coincidence,
okay,
but it is interesting, I find, that Cloud9 has been so good in double limb, and every time they've made it to the finals as the upper bracket team, they've been able to close it out.
That momentum, very powerful for a squad like this, a squad that is used to winning at this point. Even when we had Zven on the desk previously and he was talking about just how, you know, making these qualifications, getting to finals, playing for the trophies, going to Worlds, for a team like Cloud9, given the history of what they've accomplished, it's an expectation for a lot of them at this point.
Yeah.
You compare and contrast that to NRG, and it's kind of what the Lounge was talking about earlier when they were talking about the graphs of the players and their journeys through Academy, Amateur, just trying to get back to this point. The expectation for Cloud9 is this qualification, is fighting for the trophy. NRG has been a top, clawing their way up here, but Blaber brings the crash down in its first blood over to C9.
The timing of that gank for C9 was so good because Contractz was actually up there, but he thought that he was up there for long enough. Blaber comes in right afterwards. Fudge doesn't even have to burn Flash to be able to take down the Renekton. That is a very good start for Blaber.
Very, very good for Blaber. Very, very good for Fudge. Again, if Jax can get through lane just fine, he scales into such a monster. His team fighting is powerful. His split pushing is powerful. He's a really good champ in the current state of the game. And with Dhokla dropping there, things are only going to be easier for him to scale to that point. C9 with a 1-kill lead, up about 900 gold, so they have some extra advantages too, just in the farm. You can see mid lane, bot lane, up about a wave or so. Even in the jungle, Blaber, on top of going in and getting the first blood, is outpacing Contractz.
Yeah, and I'm going to spend a second here to give Blaber some extra props because I feel like there's some weird anti-Blaber narratives flying around.
Okay.
He's had such an incredible split. So he has been ahead of his opponent in CS in 21 of 22 games at 15 minutes.
As a record.
As a jungler. And I know you could say, like, it's just because he's a full clear bot. But he has the lead in kills and assists at 15 minutes for junglers. So he's just good.
Yeah.
He's just actually crushing pretty much every opponent. And this Rell game, it's not necessarily something he plays often. It's actually his first Rell game of the entire split. But as you can see, keeping pace to slightly ahead of Contractz in lane, also gets the first blood and is positioned Cloud9 1,000 gold ahead at 8 minutes.
It's a tale of his efficiency, I think. Just the fact that you're able to find all of the kill participation as well as topping those farm numbers just shows me he's wasting no time. He knows when the time investment will be better spent doing something to interfere with one of the lanes, but he also knows when he's better off just clearing the camps. It's that decision-making always being on point. That's one of the reasons why he's such a deadly opponent and why so many teams struggle to find wins against him. As Contractz and Palafox now working together to start up the Rift Herald. Dhokla roaming down here too. He has the Dominus back up and ready here on the Renekton.
Yeah, I think the fact that the ultimate's back up on Renekton should allow them to just push Cloud9 off this Rift Herald. Also notice how Berserker didn't move, so actually FBI is going to lose a decent amount of time with bot lane tempo by coming up to secure this Rift Herald, and it's going to be a matter of how they pay him back, because if you're C9, if Berserker is ahead, you're winning most of your games. So weirdly enough, C9 is kind of okay with this trade. Yes, Rift Herald goes down to the Maokai, but Berserker gets a free wave and a free plate. So he's now 300 gold ahead of his opponent.
And this is the type of guy that once he gets ahead, man, you always feel the impact of the gold on him. And we remember the series that they were playing against EG, where they had the 2 out of 3 games in that 3-0 series, which looked like they should have gone EG's way. That third and final game, Berserker on Ezreal, just making Q look like a point and click. The guy's skill, his mechanical proficiency on so many different champions is frightening. And he's bloodthirsty too. He's not one of the AD carries that'll play on the safer side. You always see Berserker ready to jump in and try to make these plays, and when he's ahead, it's just that much easier for him to activate that killer instinct.
There were multiple points in the EG series where Berserker won Player of the Series, where you just thought, wow, this guy is the best player in the LCS and it's not close.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it looked. So he actually didn't have the most impressive summer split statistically, but you know he's still got it in him when it matters the most. And this series will also be interesting in the fact that Cloud9 didn't blow EG out. They were actually down substantially in Game 1, down at points in Game 3, and throughout most of the summer split, even though they actually have the 1 seed, it was like a weirdly disappointing split for C9. It just didn't look like they were putting everything together. So I really do want to see if they can actually consistently beat NRG in all 3 games, let alone if the inconsistency they showed throughout the regular season is actually just their inability to come together, right? Like, I can't tell if it's just the fact that they're thinking about scaling for Worlds or if they actually can't put it together.
And remember, we've mentioned it before already. NRG is one of the squads that's figured them out before. Nice! Ignar going in with a pulverized headbutt follow-up, and they give the money over to FBI. NRG, well played there, using the dominance to force the wave in, set up the rotation from the bottom lane, and now look at how much money FBI is going to be getting here. You asked earlier, how are they going to pay him back for this Rift Herald control? There it is. There's your payment.
This is the Aphelios dream right now. You get a free turret to White Gun. The Rift Herald is weirdly
What is happening?
It's just
Shelly,
stuck.
turn the corner. Okay, there we go.
Get in there.
There we go.
625 gold as well as the
Huge
plate gold. Look at that total gold now, 500 ahead for Aphelios. EMENES getting a lot of plates on the other side, but I think critically the fact that Aphelios is ahead on Kaisa will be really important for mid lane control later on in the game.
That Herald will not get the second charge up here in the top lane, but the gold lead was over 1,000 for C9 before that sequence of plays up in the top lane. It briefly went into just the slightest advantage for NRG, now still back in Cloud9's favor a little bit, but that play made up so much of the difference that had existed in the early game so far. Worth noting, C9 does have both of the early Drakes so far. You've got the Chem Drake, you've got the Mountain Drake, we've got Ocean Rift out here and available. This is very early to Drake point. Right? You're going to see the next Drake in the game spawning at around 16 minutes, which means if they take that on spawn, the Soul would then potentially be available around 21 minutes. So for NRG, I think that's probably the next big thing you got to make sure you're focusing on, is not allowing this early Soul win condition to become a problem. But I do like the fact that they got so much out of the Herald and made it worthwhile.
Yeah, I think FBI's condition come Drake 3 is going to be what keeps NRG in this game, because I think if Cloud9 gets the Ocean Soul against the Maokai Jayce poke, it takes away one of the main win conditions that NRG has, and I think C9 will just be able to kind of, you know, use Rell, Nautilus to engage whatever fight they want, and then carry it with Berserker and EMENES's wallet. So I really do think FBI now becomes the focus for C9 as they approach the next Drake fight.
FBI does have that Kraken Slayer completed. You can see the static Shiv done for Berserker on the other side too, as Contractz and Ignar maintain control over the bot side river, but now Blaber's coming in, goes for the Shattering Strike on Palafox, won't find it. Ignar has the explosive shot on his head, but FBI wants to go for the root on EMENES. Palafox coming around from the side as the Maokai ulti will get Zven. He drops the depth charge to try to get away, has to flash out now too, re-engages Dredge line onto Ignar, but the Alistar is ultied, so he's not going to take a ton of damage here. The Ignite will just tick on him a little bit. Honestly, not a whole lot of great use there out of that summoner spell. Meanwhile, Berserker was back in mid lane, picking up another plate. The gold difference hasn't really changed much as Blaber flashes in. Magnet Storm on 2 targets. Shattering Strike looking to keep Ignar locked down. EMENES going underneath the turret, looking for FBI. Fires out the Moonlight Vigil, and he takes EMENES down as the fight into the river may just be able to favor NRG now. Blaber's in the middle of 4, and he ain't walking away from this one. Contractz locks him down. Palafox blows him up. Now Fudge has to try to get out. NRG turning around beautifully. EMENES got way too hype underneath that bottom lane tier 1 turret, and FBI with the outplay.
I think this could be a huge turning point in the game. That was not only EMENES getting too hyphy, but also Blaber. And I was going to ask, since this is Blaber's first Rell game of the split, how is he going to look like in the teamfight phase? That's always the question when you're first timing a champion. Your laning phase is going to be good, but how do you teamfight? He goes in here, but no one is actually there to follow up. Berserker can't fly over the wall, and then this attempted solo kill happened again, and actually got him this time. I thought that was a replay.
No, that was EMENES running it back saying, no, 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 the call was right, I just messed it up. Here, watch, this is how it's supposed to work.
I can do this.
The confidence play. All right, so EMENES at least gets that one back, makes up for it a little bit, but NRG is still in a gold lead position. We've got 1.5 minutes until the next Drake spawns, much less time until the next Rift Herald spawns. That one is about to pop into the top part of the Rift right now. And remember, it was NRG who took the first. Cloud9 decided not to challenge for it. C9 going to take a turret on the bottom lane this time and re-equalize that gold as NRG's going in for Rift Herald number 2. Blaber is around. but he's got nobody else close to him. EMENES is just farming up the wave in top, and it looks like, once again, C9 will yield this topside objective.
Yeah, I do actually feel like C9's a little weaker than NRG right now. We're going to have a level 11 Renekton ult come next Dragon. We have the Duskblade Jayce with a demonic Maokai, so if they step into the wrong bush, they'll get hit by the sapling, it'll reveal them, it'll slow them. Jayce will land an EQ, and there will go half your health. And then the Kaisa, I think, really turns on when you hit 3 items. And Berserker looks like he's going the poke build, but is yet to have his Ludens, so the poke won't be doing that much damage yet. So even though the gold is even and C9 is up 2 Drakes to 0, I feel like NRG will be stronger in this fight if they have the right setup.
35 seconds till we get to find out. Contractz trying to establish control in the bot side river here already. You can see that Dhokla
Palafox needs to get down here. Palafox is, I think, out of position right now. He's doesn't have TP, and he's clearing an extra wave top lane, even though there's no turret pressure. So he's got to move it through that river.
Yeah, Palafox better hoof it fast, because that control I was talking about, NRG trying to establish in the river, because they were a man down, they immediately had to concede it right back over to C9, who now has control over the side brush in mid. The Rift Herald summoned up in mid lane to be a bit of a distraction here as Fudge zones Dhokla away from an entry point into that bottom river. The Herald is summoned. It has not made its way to the turret yet. It got summoned up too early, and C9 destroy it before it finds any value.
C9's in river first as well, so Dhokla's trying to make his way back in, but you can see they didn't have any mid pressure with Palafox being top, so even though the Herald dropped, that couldn't get them, and now they're trying to use Maokai ult to clear out the river.
Maokai ult flies through. Now Zven could be the one in some trouble. Ignar flies in after him, already has the ulti activated, but he won't get anything else, and it looks like the damage is going to be back into the NRG support. C9 get a free kill. NRG not having the engage they were looking for. It's too disjointed, it's too chaotic, and it's not enough to stop C9, who now can just march themselves into the bottom side river. EMENES is just trying to force down the turret with no minion wave. I'm not really sure what is going on here. Palafox might be able to hunt him down. Berserker comes over to help him. This has gotten a little bit wild, and now the Dragon is once again the target. Blaber dropping the Magnet Storm, looking for Contractz as he makes his way into the pit, but he's going to be burned down before anything else happens. Zven now targeted next. Dhokla picking one up. It'll be a 1-for-1 so far, and NRG ain't done yet. Blaber's going to get burned. A double kill over to the Croc. Fudge picks another one back up as FBI falls. EMENES tries to get away, but Dhokla will slice and dice his way to a triple kill.
All right, this is officially a mess.
Yes!
Because that could have been a 3rd Dragon taken for C9, but they try and take too much. EMENES going for that mid turret, throws everything into chaos, pulls Berserker off the Drake, which lowers their DPS and allows Dhokla approach into river, and it ultimately secures NRG, the Drake, and a triple kill for Dhokla.
EMENES really making some strange decisions here. So let's see what he goes for, because he jumps in. Palafox has already cleared away most of the minions.
He wants the turret.
Yeah, he really wanted to get the Demolish proc. Demolish plus his E, I guess he's just seeing that as, okay, this will end it, but it doesn't.
It looked to me like the backdoor bonus turned on for the turret because EMENES lost minions. If the minions were there, I think he kills the turret, but then, like, he's not a part of this fight. And even though they kill Contractz first, since there's only one Kaisa there, and a Jax with no Tristana to actually do meaningful DPS, they just can't get through that level 12 Gore Drinker Renekton, and Dhokla cleans up.
Triple kill for Dhokla, and yeah Mythy with a reaction that I think probably a lot of people share. What is going on in this game? That was about as chaotic as you could get for a 3rd Drake fight in a pretty even game. It's still 5-6 overall in the kills, a gold lead for C9, but it's not even 4 digits, as NRG are trying to maintain control over their own jungles. Ven's walking through here, looking to establish some vision of his own. Still just 2 turrets to 1. Only that top lane tier 1 taken by NRG that they got with the first Rift Herald. Remember, the second one got no value at all in mid lane, summoned up too far away, and C9 still has that first turret in mid and bottom that they've taken. Fudge is going in after Dhokla here. A TP coming in to reinforce him, but I'm not really sure. EMENES is going to have to start making some better decisions in this series. Like, I'm not quite certain what he's going for on some of these.
He's not doing well. Like, and I know it's kind of a jokey thing to say, but he was underperforming through a lot of summer split, and then he played very well in the EG series. Yeah. Right? He played very well in spring playoffs, he played very well in the EG series, so the worries were removed. But it was a legitimate concern for me coming into the playoffs, the way EMENES was going to perform, because he hadn't necessarily been winning lane in summer, and then his macro game has always been a little bit under question because he just hasn't had a huge amount of experience playing in a top league. So in this game, he actually had a very good laning phase, but it's now been about 3 kind of heat-of-the-moment decisions, trying to solo kill FBI in the bottom lane where he fails, trying to kill the turret where he fails, and that teleport, that might have been a Fudge call. We have no way of knowing. I'm not really going to blame him for that one, but I do agree that, especially with the way Palafox have been playing, if EMENES doesn't perform at a top level, that's one of NRG's windows into the series.
Exactly. That's one of those angles they could punish. That's the Palafox Contractz duo and their opportunity to really blow open a lead or find a playmaking chance. There is second items coming online all across the board here. You can see the Gale Force just now completed for the Aphelios of FBI. The Luden's done for Berserker's Kaisa. A lot of the times you see Luden's third, you see the Nashor's 2nd second, so he doesn't have the attack speed to evolve the E, the supercharger, just yet. So that means that there's still a little bit more vulnerability to him if they get on top of him there in the team fights. But now there's the Fiendish Codex and inventory going for the third item, but this is the much heavier poke build like you pointed out earlier, which is also communicating to me that he's just like, okay, I don't think there's going to be as much auto-attacking and skirmishing in these fights. It's going to be more about the poke. Let's make sure the Void Seekers are as impactful as they can be.
Yeah, or it's just the fact that Fudge and EMENES are going to be doing a bunch of DPS anyway. So he just wants to have the poke for the objective setups before things happen. I'm okay with either order of these Kaisa builds, almost regardless of, your team composition. But this series is actually about as close as the skeptics would make you think.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is going to be...
This is very close.
This is going to be a brawl. Like, I was a little worried for NRG. Hold on.
And that's jumping over there. Does not get chased down.
We actually had the pleasure of having Zven cast NRG's qualification match against Golden Guardians for Worlds.
Yeah.
And Zven was like, I remember when I was this happy to qualify for Worlds.
Yeah.
Right? But I also worried for NRG that, like, that was their championship. Like, oh my God, we did it, it's over. Whereas for C9, it's like, this is just the regular season, really.
Yeah.
And the ultimate prize is going to be in Newark. So the expectations, I was a little worried that NRG could come out really flat. But that has not been the case. They are playing still at a very high level.
Yeah, energy's looking good. Palafox completing the Muramana. He already had the tier fully stacked, so as soon as he purchased the Manamune, it just immediately evolved. Massive power spike for any champion that uses that item to have it completed. So I think energy's going to be feeling good about an upcoming fight here. 25 seconds until the next Drake spawns. Remember that if C9 gets it, they will be at soul point. Energy, however, could tie up the Drake count overall if they can secure it again. I'm expecting both teams to still have the previous Drake fight fresh in memory and how chaotic that was.
Oh, man. Prep the waves, move first in river, and then when you can get the Drake, get the Drake. Don't try and greed a mid-turret. So C9 does have position here. This time Palafox has teleport to make it to mid-wave, but they still have to claw their way through. Maokai Sapling's very good for this in order for retaking river, because you have huge range. You can throw them in. That allows you to see them. Jayce can poke and move in. So it looks like they've managed to make their way into Drake, and we have an eye contact fight here in river.
There you go. You can see those saplings controlling the pixel brush, keeping an eye on this Zven, knocking the shields off of them. Palafox, shock blast over the wall, finds Fudge, but nobody else. They're using Maokai ulti to try to keep him away here from the Drake. It's going to be secured by FBI as Blaber went in for the steal, and it's a massive pulverize coming out onto 3 targets, but EMENES is still safe and free firing back on the Contractz. Fudge goes on a killing spree, and C9 get a 1-for-0 here at the start. FBI's booted up, but he's got about 1 million chakrams. He flashes back away. The damage pours into the Cloud9 health bars. EMENES about to be caught as Dhokla's in the middle of 3, and he's not going to be able to get away either. Palafox goes over the wall, to the skies, to the ground. EMENES will fall. 2 dead on C9, 3 on energy, and the fight ends.
What a wild fight. That is the first time I've seen a team try and turn on a 20-stack Aphelios. It didn't necessarily go well either. So this fight, the Dragon going over, I think is going to be really pivotal for later. And just watch FBI in this fight. He gets the White Gun ultimate, which basically full stacks his chakrams right here. And I expected after this kill, C9 should just walk away. But they think they can CC lock this 2,500 health Aphelios. They are wrong. They do not have the damage to do this. They get him to about half health, and then the rest of the fight continues.
And Fudge having to get away there with his own flash. He did not want to suffer the 19 million chakram auto attack. Palafox flashing over the wall to guarantee the follow-up kill there on EMENES. Damage dealt in the last fight. All 80 carries, baby. It's Berserker and FBI topping the charts. Berserker hitting the highest out of all 10 players at 4,300 there. But you can see Palafox also putting in some good work here on the Jayce. The only non-AD carry to break that 3,000 mark in the previous fight. But Fudge also putting in some good DPS himself. The C9 is starting up the Baron. Ward over the wall from NRG. They see what's going on now. Dhokla's in bottom lane. It's teleporting into the pit now. The Baron's down to 1,300. Dhokla comes in, but it's going to be secured by Blaber already. But what about the fight? C9 have lost EMENES. Zven tries to get away. Ignar may have been taking a chunk of damage, but he's already got the ulti back, so he's ready to go. Contractz chases down Zven. Blaber will fall too. It's a Baron for 3 as C9 can barely escape. Fudge is beating it out. Berserker trying to go berserk here on FBI, but he's going to be locked down instead. Contractz ready to follow up here on the chase. FBI using the Gale Force to chase after the Cloud9 marksman. Dhokla's still coming in from behind. They want to punish the Kaisa, the supercharger, to try to get away. Dhokla will not have enough damage to kill him. NRG's not going to get a 4th, but they're going to use this momentum to take down a turret in mid, another turret in top, and punish the C9 Baron.
Yeah, I don't think that actually advantages either team. I think it's a pretty even trade. Berserker hit 3 items on Kaisa, which made C9 feel confident to start the Baron, but then the flip became so close, and EMENES needed to keep DPSing, so they had no lines to fight properly. So that means at the start of this, they can just straight up kill EMENES. The Maokai ult hits him. He's rooted for like 3 seconds, and they one-shot the Trist. So even though Berserker has 3 items, there's just no way he can kill 5 people on his own.
Yeah. Zven then trying to get all the way away. Contractz eventually chases him down, kills him with a Bramble Smash. Blaber in the middle of everybody ain't going to escape. Fudge used the teleport there as an escape mechanism. Otherwise, he was in danger of falling too, as Zven has been caught in the enemy jungle, trying to go on a little bit too deep of a warding mission without close enough help. Meant that NRG could pick up a free kill there, take him out of the picture. C9, in the meantime, does take down the tier 1 turret in the top.
Yeah, that's going to be the rest of the Baron.
Yeah.
Just gone. So negative 400 gold Baron power play for C9 as of current.
And you start at plus 1,500.
Yeah.
It's 2,000 gold loss after taking the Baron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good.
No. Yeah. Generally not ideal.
Could be worse.
Yeah, could be negative 3,000.
Baron could have been stolen.
Yeah, that's true. It got very, very close. You could see back in the replay, I think it dropped to about 1,132, and then the smite comes down from Blaber to secure it while Contractz is still out of the pit.
Yeah.
So definitely a close game here with 1 minute until the next Drake spawns. Cloud9 got the first 2, and they got them very early.
Yeah.
But then after 2 chaotic Drake fights, NRG came out on top for the objective, at least, in both of those. C9 heading here nice and early this time. It feels like with each subsequent crazy dragon fight, the teams are going to it earlier for the next one. Because they're saying, okay, we thought it was early enough last time. Everything still went to hell. Add 30 seconds more.
And the fights themselves, EMENES has had a hard time hitting.
Yeah.
He's either been chunked at the start of it or one shot at the start of it. And FBI has also been able to free hit. So if this fight is going to change in favor of C9, they need to find a way to either engage on FBI or actually have the front line in range for EMENES to follow up.
FBI has no flash right now, but he does have a fully completed 3rd item too with the Lord Dominic's regards. So very high DPS potential for this guy if he doesn't get one shot. Berserker 2-0 and 4 on the Kaisa. Very, very strong for both marksmen. FBI running forward here. He's going to dump the red gun. Now with both the Crescendon and the Calibrum, he's going to have the extra range as Dhokla and Fudge get into a scrap here down in bottom lane. C9 with control over the Drake pit, control over the river. Ignar jumps in and knocks Blaber back into the pit. Accelerated shock blast over the wall. FBI ulti hits too. Blaber's very low, but the Drake also is low. Magnet Storm back on multiple targets. FBI's in the middle of everybody. They haven't killed him yet, but Fudge goes in for the shutdown, and C9 finally find a fight. They've taken out the enemy AD carry, mid, jungler, all. Only Dhokla's left standing beside Ignar, man. C9, triple kill for Fudge. They'll slam that fight.
Oh, C9, what's the saying? The gold is even in 25 minutes, then C9 wins a team fight. That's just how it seems to go. But it's what we talked about. FBI, no flash, unable to free hit in this fight because Blaber, even though he's at 30% health, flash engages, Fudge follows up, Zven ults, everyone just bursts him down, and FBI doesn't get a chance to play.
Remember when we talked back at the start of the game about how the lack of a cleanse could be punished later on? There was a lot of CC there locking FBI down. I have to wonder if there would be any way to escape that effectively if you did have a cleanse, but that's just not the story getting told. The Fudge factor hitting 5K in that team fight. The terror of Jax is real. No matter how well the Renekton was able to at least do early on. Yes, he died to a gank, but we could see that he had a CS advantage for quite a while. His presence earned in the Rift Herald fights. Yeah. But Jax is still Jax. The helicopter has left the launch pad. He is ready to absolutely ruin these team fights now. The fully completed Zhonya's means he can fly in there with absolute carelessness to establish that first stun, pop the Zhonya's, boom, Counter-Strike cooldown's ready to go again by the time you're out of it. It's going to be incredibly difficult for NRG to deal with him.
It's so obnoxious for FBI. He has a stopwatch this fight. Palafox has a broken stopwatch. That hasn't turned into GA yet. That last fight was really the blueprint for how C9 wants to play. They might try again here.
Yeah, Contractz instantly getting chunked for half HP there thanks to the Kaisa. TP arrives as Dhokla's ready to join up with the rest of NRG. But C9 have already dispersed. Meanwhile, EMENES was still up here in the top lane, applying pressure to the turrets. Trist does this so effectively, just bursting the thing down over the duration of a single E cast. C9 building that gold lead up to 4,000 now, 31 minutes into the game. Baron respawning in 10 seconds.
Yeah, the game is still not unwinnable for NRG because they've avoided the soul stack for Cloud9. There's still just 3 Drakes on Cloud9, but with where the items are right now, Cloud9 definitely very comfortable. I feel like either NRG needs to get another pick onto EMENES like they've been doing. He's a flashless Tristana. Or they somehow need to miraculously catch Berserker, despite Berserker staying 2,000 units away, shooting Ws nonstop. Yeah. But if they don't take down either of those carries at the start of the fight, it's very hard for NRG to win.
Berserker now has his Void Staff fully completed too, and you saw the amount of damage he did to Contractz when they found him there just at the entrance to the jungle. Icaithian Rain plus the Void Seeker just immediately pops him to slightly below half HP, I think it was. Yeah. The Kaisa is terrifying right now. So C9 will remove some of this vision, place down in the Baron pit. Blaber's gonna be the one just daring NRG to step up. FBI still clearing out the wave. FBI, no summoner spells. Again, this is so difficult for him to play these situations. God. Boom. Kaisa.
Yeah, and finally one missed, but I swear that skill shot's the size of a bus. But it's Fudge right now, split pushing, forcing someone to answer. Only Palafox has TP, but then without a Jayce to poke, it's so hard for NRG to approach 4v4. Yeah. So C9 is just playing this beautiful.
I like the way they've set it up. Palafox goes back there, he clears out that wave, but the Baron down to 8,000 HP already. C9 shreds through this thing with 2 marksmen.
It's a flip.
Contractz wants to get in there. The Maokai ulti's already found its way, but Blaber's found the smite. C9, they bring in Fudge for reinforcements. If NRG want the fight, they're going to have to take it 5v5. Blaber over the wall there. Shattering Strike into the crash down. They found the enemy jungler. They drop the depth charge of the FBI and force him into the stopwatch as Berserker goes into the back. The Kaisa is diving and C9 is thriving. A double kill for the AD carry as FBI tries to get one, but immediately falls to the Counter-Strike damage. Ignar wants to get out, but there's just no way. It's a 5-for-1. It's the end of the game. The Baron fight for C9.
Berserker flew in off of just a Nautilus ultimate to start that fight onto FBI. Realized he couldn't finish it off, flashed over the wall, but then just solo killed Palafox after burning so much on FBI. C9 take game 1.
C9 will march this one in. There's no way these timers are going to be short enough to give NRG a chance. The Nexus turrets are down. It was a back and forth bloody game, but C9's team fighting saves the day. They're going to win this first one in the best of 5.
All business for Berserker. 5-0-10 max bounty by the end of the game on Kaisa. A little bit of a different look for Blaber as well with the Rell. So showing a bit of flexibility at the start of this one. Nothing but just calm, steely resolve from Cloud9 with that game 1 victory.
I think EMENES is going to want to tighten up a